There is a quiet hunger in the soul that no noise can satisfy. Many carry it without a name. It shows up as restlessness in the evening, as anxiety before sleep, as a sense that something sacred has been misplaced and not yet found. In another age, this hunger was answered not with distraction, but with devotion, and at the center of that devotion was a simple chain of beads, the Rosary. For centuries, the Church has whispered about 15 promises given through Saint Dominic, assurances spoken not in thunder, but in mercy, promises of protection in danger, peace in times of chaos, light in moments of confusion. Yet today, many Catholics have never heard them. Others once knew them but let them fade beneath the weight of modern life. The promises remain, however, not as relics of the past, but as living words that continue to bear fruit in ordinary homes and quiet hearts. Those who pray the Rosary daily often describe a change that arrives without announcement. Nothing dramatic at first, no sudden visions or voices. Instead, they notice that fear loosens its grip, old resentments soften, decisions become clearer. One woman, overwhelmed by years of unresolved grief, began praying the Rosary each night out of sheer desperation. She did not feel immediate consolation, but within weeks she found herself sleeping through the night for the first time in years. It felt, she later said, like someone was standing guard while I rested. The first of the promises speaks of powerful graces, not wealth, not success, but the kind of grace that steadies a trembling heart. Daily Rosary prayer does not remove suffering from life, but it changes how suffering is carried. Like a lamp lit before dawn, it does not end the night instantly, but it gives the courage to keep walking. Those who persevere often testify that temptations lose their urgency, and despair no longer speaks with the same authority it once had. There is also a promise of peace, not the fragile peace of circumstances going well, but a deeper stillness that remains even when circumstances fall apart. Many discover this peace in the rhythm itself. Bead after bead, breath after breath, the soul learns again how to trust. The Rosary becomes less a prayer spoken and more a place entered, a refuge, a school of patience, a quiet meeting with a mother who listens without interrupting. As this episode begins, we step into those forgotten promises, not as theories, but as lived realities. In the blocks that follow, you will hear how daily Rosary prayer protects families, restores relationships, and draws wandering hearts back to God. These are not stories from another century. They are unfolding now in kitchens, hospital rooms, and silent chapels, wherever someone dares to pick up the beads and pray again. Stay with us. The promises are not forgotten in heaven. They are only waiting to be claimed. One of the most overlooked promises of the Rosary is protection. Not a dramatic immunity from hardship, but a spiritual safeguarding that often becomes visible only in hindsight. Those who pray daily rarely describe a life without trials. Instead, they speak of near misses, softened blows, and dangers that seemed to dissolve before fully forming. The Rosary does not build a wall against suffering, it places a mother at the gate. A father once shared how his family began praying the Rosary together during a season of deep unrest. Arguments were frequent, anxiety hovered like a storm cloud. One night, after weeks of praying through tension rather than peace, an unexpected calm settled into their home. The conflicts did not vanish overnight, but they lost their power to escalate. It was as if something stepped in between us, something that refused to let anger have the last word. That is how protection often works, quietly, firmly, invisibly. Another promise speaks of peace in the midst of trial. This peace does not arrive as emotional relief, but as clarity. Those faithful to daily Rosary prayer frequently describe a sharpening of conscience and a deepening of trust. They begin to recognize temptation sooner. They sense when a decision carries hidden consequences. It is as though the soul becomes more awake, more alert to grace. In times of crisis, This awareness becomes a lifeline. There are stories of people who should have broken under pressure but did not. A nurse who prayed the rosary during long night shifts in an overwhelmed hospital noticed that fear no longer dominated her thoughts. She still witnessed suffering, but it no longer hollowed her out. "I felt held," she said, "like I was not walking alone through the darkness." The promise of peace does not erase pain, it anchors the heart, so pain does not define the whole story. The rosary also carries a promise of perseverance. Those who cling to it daily often find themselves returning to prayer even after failure. When they fall, they rise faster. When they wander, they come back sooner. The beads become a thread leading home. Many testify that sins which once felt impossible to resist gradually lose their appeal, not because willpower increased, but because love did. As we continue, we will look more closely at how these promises unfold in moments of moral struggle and spiritual warfare. The rosary does not shout, it does not argue, it remains, and in remaining, it reshapes the soul, one faithful prayer at a time. Among the rosary's forgotten promises, none is more astonishing than this: the conversion of sinners. Not as a theory, not as a slogan, but as a lived, repeated reality witnessed in ordinary homes and broken lives. Those who pray the rosary daily often discover that conversion begins somewhere unexpected. Sometimes it is not the person being prayed for. Sometimes it's the one holding the beads. A woman once began praying the rosary for her adult son who had abandoned the faith entirely. Years passed with no visible change. He mocked religion. He refused invitations to Mass. Yet she continued, often praying through tears, fingering the beads like a lifeline. Then something subtle happened. Her heart softened. Her anger dissolved. Her words towards him changed. She stopped arguing and started listening. Months later, her son asked a quiet question, not about doctrine, but about peace. That question became a doorway. Conversion rarely arrives as lightning. More often, it arrives as a knock. Daily rosary prayer seems to prepare the ground before the seed is ever planted. Many converts describe a growing discomfort with old habits, a sense that something within them no longer fits the life they are living. One man testified that after praying the rosary each morning during his commute, he began to feel restless in places he once loved. Conversations that used to excite him felt hollow. He did not suddenly decide to change. He felt invited. That invitation eventually led him back to confession after decades away. The promise of conversion also reaches across generations. Grandparents praying for grandchildren they may never see grow up. Parents praying for children whose choices frighten them. Friends praying for friends trapped in cycles of addiction or despair. The rosary works beyond human timelines. It is patient. It is relentless. It does not forget a single name spoken into its prayers. What makes this promise so powerful is that it does not depend on eloquence or perfect faith. Many who pray the rosary daily admit they do so distracted, tired, even doubtful. Yet they continue. And in continuing, they place themselves inside a current of grace stronger than their weakness. Conversion flows where humility makes room. In the next block, we will explore one of the most consoling promises of all, that those devoted to the rosary will not die without the sacraments of the Church, and how this promise has unfolded in the final hours of countless lives. Among the rosary's most tender and misunderstood promises is this assurance: those who are faithful to the rosary will not die without the sacraments of the Church. To modern ears, this can sound distant, even old-fashioned. Yet at bedsides, in hospitals, in quiet rooms where time thins and eternity draws near, this promise has proven to be a living mercy. Countless families testify to moments they still struggle to explain. A man unconscious for days suddenly opens his eyes when a rosary is placed in his hand. A woman who has not spoken in hours begins to whisper the Hail Mary alongside her daughter. A priest arrives at the last possible moment, delayed by traffic or distance, yet arriving just in time. These moments do not feel accidental, they feel arranged. The daily rosary seems to prepare the soul long before the final breath. Those who pray it often describe a growing familiarity with death, not as terror, but as passage. Each mystery rehearses surrender. Each decade trains the heart to say yes again and again. When the hour arrives, that yes is already practiced. One nurse shared a story of an elderly patient who had prayed the rosary every morning for decades. As her condition worsened, she asked repeatedly for her beads, even when her hands trembled too much to hold them. On her final day, as the chaplain prayed the Apostles' Creed, the woman smiled faintly and moved her lips at the words, "Life everlasting." She died moments later, clutching the rosary. No fear, no struggle, only familiarity. This promise does not guarantee ease, it guarantees presence. Mary, who stood at the foot of the cross, does not abandon her children when the world grows dim. The rosary trains the soul to recognize her nearness. At the final hour, that recognition becomes comfort. Even those who have drifted from the faith for years often find the rosary resurfacing near death. Family members begin praying beside hospital beds. Forgotten beads appear in drawers. Old prayers return like a language remembered at the last moment. The promise is not mechanical, it is relational. A lifetime of small yeses becomes a bridge when words fail. In the next block, we will explore how the rosary's promises extend beyond death itself, shaping not only the end of life, but the way believers endure suffering, trials, and the long waiting seasons in between. The rosary's promises are not reserved only for dramatic moments or final hours. They unfold quietly, faithfully, across ordinary days. One of the most profound assurances given to those who pray the rosary daily is perseverance. Not perfection, perseverance. Those who commit to this prayer often speak of an interior steadiness that grows slowly, like roots deepening underground. Life does not suddenly become easy, suffering does not vanish, but something within the soul changes. Panic gives way to patience, anger softens into endurance, fear loses its sharpest edge. The rosary teaches the heart how to remain. Each mystery invites the soul to stay with Christ through joy, sorrow, glory, and light. Over time, the soul learns that no season is wasted. The same beads pass through fingers in moments of gratitude and in moments of grief. This repetition forms resilience. Many modern testimonies echo this quiet miracle. A mother overwhelmed by anxiety prays one decade in the car before school drop-off. A man burdened by work stress prays the rosary during late-night walks. A young adult wrestling with doubt commits to finishing one rosary a day even when it feels dry. None of them report instant transformation. What they describe instead is staying power. The promise speaks of peace, but not the absence of storms. It is the peace of knowing where to anchor when storms arrive. The rosary becomes a lifeline. When words fail, the prayers remain. When emotions spiral, the rhythm steadies the breath. When faith feels fragile, the structure holds. Over time, many discover that the rosary reshapes their desires. Old temptations lose their urgency. New virtues emerge quietly. Charity becomes easier. Forgiveness arrives sooner. Hope returns more quickly after disappointment. These are not dramatic miracles, yet they are no less real. The forgotten promises of the rosary are not a contract with heaven. They are an invitation into companionship. Mary walks with those who pray. Christ is contemplated daily, not as an idea, but as a living presence encountered through scripture, memory, and love.
Those who persevere in the rosary often look back and realize something astonishing. They were protected without noticing. They were guided without realizing it. Doors closed that would have harmed them, paths opened that led them closer to God. The promises did not remove freedom, they guarded it. And so the rosary continues, bead by bead, day by day, not as superstition, not as obligation, but as a relationship faithfully lived, a prayer that does not shout, yet endures, a promise that unfolds slowly, gently and surely in the hands of those who choose to pray daily. Among the Rosary's promises, there is one that carries a holy weight, often whispered rather than proclaimed. It is the promise of assistance at the hour of death. For many, this promise feels distant, even unsettling. Yet for those who pray the Rosary daily, it becomes a source of profound trust, not fear. Those who have walked with loved ones through their final days often testify to something difficult to explain. In rooms where machines hum and time seems suspended, the Rosary brings an unmistakable change in the atmosphere. Restlessness eases, faces soften. A sense of being accompanied settles into the room, as if heaven itself has drawn near. The promise is not that death will be painless or dramatic. The promise is presence, the assurance that no soul who has clung to Christ through Mary will face that final moment alone. Priests, nurses, and family members tell of men and women who had prayed the Rosary for decades and could no longer speak, yet their fingers still moved as if counting beads. Some whispered the holy name, others simply rested, breathing slowly, peacefully, as prayers were spoken around them. In those moments, fear seemed absent, replaced by surrender. This is the Rosary's quiet triumph. It prepares the soul not by removing suffering, but by teaching trust. Daily meditation on the mysteries forms the heart to recognize Christ when He comes, whether in joy, sorrow, or glory. The soul that has contemplated the Passion daily does not recoil from the cross at the end. The soul that has lingered in the resurrection recognizes hope beyond the grave. Many who pray the Rosary daily describe an unexpected grace, a growing peace about eternity long before death approaches. Judgment is no longer imagined as a courtroom, but as a meeting. Heaven is no longer abstract, but familiar. Christ is no longer distant, but known. The Rosary does not promise a dramatic ending. It promises a faithful one, a soul accompanied, a heart prepared, a life gathered gently into mercy. And so the forgotten promises come full circle: protection through life, peace in trial, conversion along the way, perseverance through weakness, and finally, assistance at the moment that matters most. For those who pray the Rosary daily, the beads become more than a prayer. They become a path, one that begins in the ordinary moments of life and leads quietly and faithfully into the arms of God. If you hold the Rosary today, you are already walking that path. The promises of the Rosary are not relics of another age. They are alive, waiting, gently offered to every soul willing to begin. They do not demand strength, holiness, or perfect understanding. They ask only for presence. One set of beads, one willing heart, one day at a time. Many who now speak of peace, protection, and quiet miracles began simply because they were tired of fear, tired of noise, tired of searching for something that could hold them steady. The Rosary met them not with spectacle, but with companionship, a prayer that stays. Perhaps you have prayed the Rosary before and drifted away. Perhaps you have never prayed it at all. The invitation remains the same. Begin where you are. Pray imperfectly. Pray distracted. Pray with questions. Heaven does not measure eloquence, it honors fidelity. Each promise unfolds not as a reward, but as a relationship deepened. Over time, the Rosary teaches the soul how to trust God in every season. It places Christ at the center of daily life. It anchors the heart when circumstances shift. It reminds the weary that they are never alone. To pray the Rosary daily is not to escape reality, it is to face it with heaven close. It is to allow Mary to lead you bead by bead into the life of her Son. It is to discover that the forgotten promises were never forgotten by God. As this episode closes, the invitation is simple. Take the Rosary in your hands today, not to test a promise, not to demand a miracle, but to walk a path walked by countless souls before you. Protection may come quietly, peace may grow slowly, conversion may take time, perseverance may be learned gradually, but the promise remains faithful. The Rosary is waiting.